Border Live this week, I'm with the life-saving boys in Berwickshire.
With a new seaside safety campaign underway, we're looking at the vital work of local lifeguards. Putting the wow back into wool, the Borders company who've got the needle in a good way.
We've got over 240 hand knitters up and down the country.
And adding illustration to injury. The sheep farmer from Newton Stewart, who made the most of an unlucky break.
I thought, well, if I can't milk the cows, I'll paint them, and that's kind of how it went. And then I thought, well, this is quite good fun. Let's see where it goes, and just from there, kept painting, really.
But first, we're heading to the coast, to Coldingham Bay in Berwickshire.
Welcome to the great British summer, and my goodness, this year hasn't really been a bad one. And of course, all that sun has brought thousands of people to the beaches.
For most of us, a day at the seaside just brings happy memories. But in some cases, it can spell disaster. Last year, 39 people died accidentally off Scotland's coasts, and the number of near misses was even higher. The lifeboat charity, the RNLI, is campaigning to greatly reduce that toll.
They had no idea how strong the current would be that day, and they got themselves into danger. The current swept them far, far out, and they were unable to get back to shore.
The RNLI's Respect the Water campaign is mainly targeting adult men, and this is due to the fact that unfortunately adult men account for around 2/3 of fatalities around the coast each year.
We're looking to try and halve those number of people getting killed on the coast by 2024 by 50%, so that's something we're really targeting at the moment.
Here at Coldingham, lifeguards patrol the bay. They're the only RNLI lifeguards in Scotland, and their main role is prevention.
Yeah, I've just observed those swimmers, everything looks fine. We're here to try and stop people getting into difficulties. At this beach, rip currents are a particular problem. It's a small beach, there's a lot of people in a small area, and I think if there weren't lifeguards here, there'd be a lot of people swept out in the rip currents and getting into trouble.
Matthew and Giordano are the two men on duty today. First job is to assess the conditions and mark out a safe bathing zone.
We're constantly scanning all of the water, risk assessing each person, seeing if they're going to get into difficulty.
People can hurt themselves on the rocks. There might be cuts and bruises and sand in eyes, and occasionally more serious matters to cope with.
Anything up to like a heart attack we can treat. Fortunately, we've not had anything too major yet this year, but the lifeguards are equipped and able to deal with. We have defibrillators, oxygen, and they have a high level of training, so they're able to help people.
Rescuing people means keeping in good shape.
You've got to be fit to be a lifeguard.
There is a fitness test. It's a 7.5-minute swim. You have to complete 400 metres in the pool, which is 16 lengths. And then there's a run on the beach, which is a 200-metre run in under 40 seconds. And they do that every month, so yeah, you have to be fit. Generally, because we're quite athletic and fit, you'll find that lifeguards are in good shape.
So here's the question. Is this job anything like the famous Baywatch TV series?
It's completely different. Unfortunately, people still got this David Hasselhoff imagine there, so famous around the world, but it's completely a different way to approach people, the way we work, the way we act. It's nothing to do with the Baywatch. Just the only resemblance, perhaps, is the red shorts and the red jacket that we wear, but we do save life like they do in the television, but I guarantee it's nothing like television. It's totally different story being lifeguard, especially in Scotland and UK, being an RNLI lifeguard.
So you don't get mobbed by girls?
Not at all. Even if I do, I need to keep it secret.
Giordano's from Italy and has Latin blood in him. But enough of such frivolity. This business can be a matter of life and death.
I was just on the beach doing a beach patrol, and Gio was up in the hut, and I noticed two kids who were going out to sea. The kids were moving really fast. Within a few seconds they'd moved 10 metres, and so I had to grab the rescue board, and then I was paddling out in the big waves.
Thanks to Matthew and Giordano, the youngsters were saved. But the fact that this is a family-friendly spot is reassuring.
I think it's a beautiful beach. Not known this area at all. Really sandy, really lovely, really picturesque. Yeah, really nice.
We think it's the best beach we've been to so far.
What do you make of the fact that there are lifeguards here? Do you feel reassured because you've got youngsters?
Yeah, I think it's brilliant actually. That when you see the flags and you see that they're watching, and it's just that extra reassurance.
I use the beaches a lot. I go surfing, so it is reassuring to have them there, and it's great for the kids as well. You know, it can get out their depth and struggle really quickly, so it's good to have them around. Yeah, they do a great job.
On quieter days like this, it's a chance to train. I was asked to be the person who gets into trouble out at sea, but on testing the temperature, perhaps not.
I don't think so. Even though it's hot, it's still jolly cold.
Instead, we found a willing volunteer. The RNLI's Scottish press officer, Henry Weaver, will pretend to be drowning. This is a practice run, but on any day on this Coldingham beach, this scenario could be for real. These boys and girls, because there are certainly female lifeguards, are literally saving lives.
Next time, just don't go too far out.
And you're looking for more lifeguards, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah. We're always looking for people to join the team. If anyone's interested, they can go to the website and look at the fitness test, what the requirements are and how to get involved.
We're heading west now to deepest Dumfries and Galloway for the story of a happy accident. When sheep farmer Helen Ryman broke her arm, she thought that was the end of her career. Now she has not just one job, but two. Emma Baker takes up the story.
Come. We.
Meet two ladies who, in recent weeks, have been hitting the headlines. All thanks to their ability to stand out from the crowd. They attracted attention after they were painted for Dumfries and Galloway's Spring Fling Arts event by their owner and artist, Helen Ryman.
My intention was to spray paint them on the Friday, manage that, and then by the Tuesday after Spring Fling they would have been coats off and they would have been like the rest of them and all nice and white and like normal sheep. But it went a bit bonkers really. People started getting in touch, wanting to come and visit the sheep. Newspapers got in touch. They're still painted up. It was a big surprise, but a great reaction to them. It's not serious artwork by any shape or form, but it's just a bit of fun, and I think it's just to go to show that all artwork doesn't have to be deep and meaningful and serious and whatnot, and it makes it more accessible for everybody.
It may have only been a joke, but the story behind these colourful coats is actually far more serious. Helen's been farming all her life. She now owns 300 sheep and milks on nearby dairy farms. But she only discovered her artistic talent 2.5 years ago, after what turned out to be a very lucky break.
Broke my left arm, going through the door came back and broke it in five places. I couldn't work with animals at all, couldn't risk getting a kick on it for a good long time afterwards. I had no income as a result. I thought, well, if I can't milk the cows, I'll paint them, and that's kind of That's how it went. So I just started painting and got one commission in, then several more commissions in, and then I thought, well, this is quite good fun, let's see where it goes, and just from there kept painting really. I was kind of doing it for my own enjoyment. That's the fundamental thing that I like to do. The fact that people are now wanting to buy it and get in touch with me, it's just really quite overwhelming at times, to be honest.
It's hugely flattering, isn't it?
It is hugely flattering. It's at times you go, really? what are you doing?
But it's not just in the area, is it?
No, it's worldwide, yeah. So totally immodestly, but no, I've worked in Hawaii, there's in Australia, in Canada. Yeah, it's all over the place, which is nice. Slowly, steady. Wait, yep. Wait to me, fine, wait.
So after the fear of losing one career, she's ended up with two. And with all those sheep to look after, not to mention the milking, that's more than most could handle.
Come, fine, come. I get up at 4 o'clock every morning and start work milking cows at 5 o'clock. So the fact that you're up a good 3 hours before the majority of folk, that does give you a bit extra hours in the day. But it's a constant juggling act. Do your work, you go milking, come back to do the girls here, any other contracting that I do gets fitted in. And then in the bit in between, if time allows, that's when you get the painting to do. Keeps you on your toes.
Certainly no time for sleeping.
Very little time for sleeping.
Helen's now got her own studio on the farm, which helps her switch between the two jobs whenever the inspiration hits her.
He's kind of ended up being my logo, so to speak. He was one of the first ones that I painted. He's Blackie Top, that's who he is. And he was one of the first ones that I did that I was really quite pleased with.
And the fact that you know the animals so well probably helps you capture their essence, doesn't it?
It does. You get to see the animals with their natural behaviour. They're not scared of you as such. They're kind of used to seeing you. They get to know different people amongst them too. So they're very natural when you're in amongst them.
While Helen's artwork is in demand, she insists that farming will always be her #1 love.
My priorities generally are the sheep and the animals. That's where I mean, the painting, I love doing the painting, I wouldn't swap it for the world either, but that is my priorities. And after you spend a morning's milking and you come back, and it's not glamorous, it certainly keeps your feet on the ground. It's, yeah, a smell.
So looking back, how do you feel about that break now? Because it was quite fortuitous, wasn't it?
Yeah, it'd be one of the best things to happen to us as well. It just gave us a chance to do something different. It worked well in the end.
Fate?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And what's meant for you won't go back by you.
And if someone had said to you 2.5 years ago where you would be now, with your own art studio, selling internationally, hugely popular, what would you say?
Without expletives, go away.
For Helen, it looks like her art career is only just beginning, which is more than can be said for these eye-catching coats. The sheep have now been shorn for the summer.
In a moment, more coloured wool from a go-ahead company from Gala Shields. Don't go away. Welcome back. In the coming weeks, we're going to be celebrating a resurgence in the Borders textile industry by featuring some local success stories. We start with a Galashiels company in the running for an export award. Jill Brown joined them as they showcased their wares at the recent Commonwealth Games.
Established in 1986, Galashiels-based Aribi Knitwear's innovative spin on traditional Scottish knitwear has made them a Border textile success story.
Aribi is about colour and pattern and looking at Scottish past, and we're about the future of Scotland. And we love the idea of natural fibres, just exploring all the different wonderful fibres that are on the market. And we're really about the whole picture of health and how things are worn and how things are made. We've started exploring lots of different yarns in garments and accessories. It's a craft trend that's coming on strong, which is quite wonderful. The ferrule then was much smaller, and this part would be hand knitted. Just to make it a bit more modern and contemporary, we've moved it down, and we have the tweed stitch here, a very soft angora in the white. It makes the product look quite three-dimensional.
In 1845, more than 3/4 of Scotland's knitting frames were located in the Borders. In its prime, the Scottish knitwear manufacturing industry employed more than 9,000 locals. But for many years, the Border towns haven't been able to compete with cheaper manufacturers overseas.
I think what's happening now is that people are considering where they're buying things. They will continue buying the cheaper product, and they will then combine it with something special. And I think they want to have something made in Britain, made in Scotland. It's also about people wanting to know, where do things come from? What is the story behind the product that they're eating or wearing or planting? And it's our job to make sure that what we wear, what we make, is good quality.
The company has a vast team of skilled hand knitters.
So here you can see the ribs that have been hand stitched on with a needle, so that you've got completely no seams on it. We've grown very, very slowly, little by little. It started off with just me, and then I had a friend that came and joined me, and now there's 13 of us. And we've got over 240 hand knitters up and down the country.
Have you got quite needles?
They are committed and enthusiastic to keep these skills alive. The team were invited to Glasgow Green as part of the Commonwealth Games 2014 to run a 3-day knitting workshop.
We've got Dorothy come up from Peebles, who's doing her spinning. We've got our other hand knitters coming to help encourage new knitters to come. It's something like giving back. It's just such a pleasure to be able to teach the Scottish heritage of knitting. In a way, it's a dying craft, and we have to teach people. So having a workshop is very important.
I'm a hand knitter with Aribi, and I do knitting work for them whenever they have something that this field suits my skills. So I haven't been with them very long. I'm working on my second project at the moment. They're very good. I did knit previously for a knitting company in Glasgow, and everything had to be in very, very quickly. But Aribi tend to give a little bit more time, so it's less of a pressure, which I really enjoy. I do remember knitting socks when I was 11 and learning how to turn the heel. Socks are on four needles, and turning a heel is quite complicated. I was obviously knitting well before then. I think my mother taught me. She was a great knitter.
It's much easier with the needle, see, when you get to this bit, isn't it?
Before, it tended to be more very experienced knitters who are older. We're now getting people who may be 22, 23, 28, 30, who want to come and join and knit with us. And this is wonderful, because I love the idea of all people passing down their skills to the young, and to have all generations working with us.
In order to survive, Aribi had to adapt.
I used to only work with cashmere, as everybody did in the Borders, which is a fantastic fibre. But I felt I wanted to do something really Scottish. And it was my father that said, you know, the little Shetland sheep is really quite soft yarn. So I went up to Shetland and saw the wonderful sheep and found a partner to do the spinning up there, and I have a knitter up there.
As the company has grown, it has become reliant on and supports local suppliers, such as Dorothy, a beginner spinner. And it's not just spinning that's new to Dorothy.
My son had the sheep and he got a new job, so there was no one to look after them, so I decided I would try. I've had them for 3 years, and when I first started to look after them, I didn't know what to do. I just looked over the fence and didn't even know how to count them. When the fleece comes from the sheep, you don't get quite so much return if you just hand it in as a proper whole fleece. But if you process it and make it into yarn, you can make items and knit with it. People like spun yarn for felting and for knitting, so there's an opportunity to sell it at different points.
This is particularly popular in America and in Japan, where they really appreciate all the wonderful colours that shine from Shetland fabric.
With stockists from Australia to Russia, Hong Kong to Iona, Aribe are nominated for Scottish Exporter of the Year at the prestigious Scottish Fashion Awards.
It's not just what do I want to make, it's the story about what does our customer want and what can we offer to enable our production processes. So our partners, what do they need? And we try to have a really balanced offering within all the different products.
And that's it from Border Life for this week. We'll see you next time.